Good day. My mind has turned to rhyme. Your hands are groping inside slime for truth that you might find, that you might find or not. For darkness that might bring forth dawn. It does? Yeah. I always take the movie, right? It's like you look at from dusk, yeah, every time it's like dawn. Oh wait, dawn is in the morning. It's the transition between darkness and light. That's the dawn. And so every time, maybe it's gonna get less now, it's hard to say. I've been breaking through a lot of my boundaries, and I mean, there was a lot of clutter in my mind, a lot of noise, and that is simply a sign of maybe dwelling in the lower realms. I would say it's a sign of blockage. So I've been doing a lot of cleansing, a lot of clearing my channels, my meridians, so that energy can flow freely. And while you're doing that, right, you have to imagine, let's say you have a balloon and you're trying to fill the balloon with air, and now you're pumping air into it, but there's a hole or several holes, and no matter how much you pump energy into the balloon, and let's say it's not so much that you're pumping energy into the balloon, but energy is simply flowing into the balloon. It's almost like there's like a vortex in the balloon that is attracting energy that is freely available, right? This is your body. But in a sense, right, you first have to look for all the holes, close them, and once you've closed all the holes and there is no leakage anymore, right, then the balloon is going to start swelling, right, and then at one point the balloon is full, but what you also need to consider is that, you know, it cannot just keep filling, otherwise it would explode. So you have to channel energy. And now we're talking about the Holy Grail. So let's say the balloon is more like semi-permeable. So it can, if there's too much, you know, if it's like 100%, then everything that's more, you know, needs to go into something, or otherwise the balloon will explode. So what you need is an outlet, is what I'm saying, if you're trying to grow spiritually. And if you're in a depression, then what you need is to sort out the stuff that is sucking you dry. And the hard thing about this is, so why am I recording this now? Because you need the mentality of a warrior to tackle your trauma, your emotions, your karmic predicament, everything where you're clinging, the weeds inside your mind, your disobedient habits or something. Like you have to figure out what to listen to and what to sort out and get rid of. So in a sense, there are certain weeds that you simply need to pluck and discard. I mean, you can take these weeds and put them onto some kind of a compost, right? And then they'll be disintegrated. And from that, you'll be creating something new, right? So you start to be like an incinerator. If the Kundalini starts rising, you're gonna be under a lot of pressure, under a lot of tension. And this is basically what happens the moment you stop masturbating. This is what happens if you stop watching movies. This is what happens if you stop, right, funneling your energy, because anything you do is channeling. Only if you watch, let's say, movies with a streaming service that you pay money for, what you see is money is life's energy. So you're channeling your life's energy into the streaming service instead of into your own dream. So you're making, let's say, big corporations bigger by channeling your energy into them because you just don't know what else to do, right? And you're afraid to do something on your own, so you just give it to someone else. And so what I simply started doing, I started to take away the connection to certain things that were people, that were habits, that were pastime activities, that were thoughts, that were even like body positions. You know, I took my energy, my attention, my focus away from these things, and I started to focus more on myself, my personal growth, like holding planks, making art, like also working with music, trying to figure out what other people figured out, honing my mind, learning the Rubik's Cube with the official instruction manual. I'll keep saying that because that's your entry to playing mind games, to solving puzzles and problems. And so I did a lot of things, like a lot of things. And you can probably take these things apart. Of course, there's transitions from I have no idea what I'm doing to okay, you know, it's working. So at first you just start doing random things, and then you take the time to understand why you're doing them, and you realize, wow, making art is actually helping me to predict my own life, to understand what's happening to me. I am drawing visions. And that is why, you know, it's ridiculous to assume that AI could do this, because AI has no conscience, has no feelings, has no emotions, doesn't have to, right? It's just an imitation of what's already available. And your mind can do that much better, because it can take darkness and it can take light. And I can sit there and I can be a perfect expression of myself, and I can free myself of concepts, and I can take other concepts, and so I can grow. But the difference to an AI is, because you can say, well, an AI can grow. Yeah, but an AI doesn't have to leave the house, doesn't have to cook for itself. And if we turn down all computers and all energy and all electricity, then AI is simply gone. Then it's non-existent. And right, in my case, you know, I never need to touch any electric device ever again, you know, and I can still manage to survive because there's a battery inside of myself. And that's the soul, that's the spirit. And if I keep funneling the energy of that battery into useless junk, like, let's say, a toxic system or toxic ideologies, then my life will be toxic. And I will be amongst toxic people. Right? The law of attraction clearly works. It's not that I do not see toxic people anymore, it's that I simply attract them less. And I know how to also leave the house at the right time, because I trust my feeling. And sometimes I simply meet nobody. And if I meet someone, then, you know, look at the signs, pay attention, say what you must, and be on your way. Know where you're going. You need a direction, you need a purpose, you need to see the light in order to understand what darkness looks and feels like. And then you get to the understanding of, hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. And you start craving darkness. And you start seeing it as a part of yourself. And you start loving the chaos. And that's sharing a bit, a part of my mind. Right? It's like the bits and pieces that I find when I'm alone, when I sit or stand and listen into myself. And that's a weird place to be in a world that always tries to draw you without.